Hey guys, this is Johan and Sean. We're going to talk about the Cougar AVGP now. Here we've got the older brother of the AVGP family, the Cougar. It's got a 6x6 transmission and it mounts the same turret as an Alvis Scorpion with a 76mm gun. Designed by Moag in Switzerland, it's built in Canada by the GM Diesel Division, and it began operation with the Canadian Forces in 1976. One thing to note on the side are the portholes for the two passengers in the rear. Unlike the Husky AVGP hull, there is only one porthole on each side to give situational awareness to the passengers. Other than that, it's exactly the same as the other AVGP vehicles if you'll follow me to the back. So like I said, it's exactly the same at the back as any other AVGP. You've got your two marker lights on the side for convoy operations, you've got your two doors for the crew compartment, and then you've got your stowage bins and tow attachment point. Sean, can you come over here and show us the inside?
My pleasure.
With this family of vehicles, opening the hatch is very, very simple. All you do is lift this lever here, and the door just swings open into this locking latch, and that keeps it open for good until it's released. Now, if you follow me inside, as you can see, the compartment isn't exactly generous in size and scope for the crew of 3 and to 2 passengers. All I can say is I'm glad the soldiers have armored helmets to stop them from bumping their heads against this when it's going.
As you can see, conditions inside the Cougar are uncomfortable, cramped, and sweltering. On top of that, the lack of an effective viewport reduces the situational awareness of anyone riding in the rear to effectively zero, making the Cougar not ideal for deploying troops in combat, but it was still sometimes used to do just that, to the detriment of all involved.
Right, so Johan, if you'd come in there with me to explain the turret.
Yeah, sure, let's do it. One thing to note here is that you can see the thickness of the rear hull by looking at the profile of this door. Okay, let's go inside. Okay, now we're inside the turret ring of the Cougar. This is exactly the same as a Scorpion turret. So we've got the 76mm low velocity gun here. We've got the commander's periscope over here with turret traverse, manual traverse as well if I squeeze this down. And over on Sean's side, we've got all the gunner's equipment. So we've got the gunner's sight over here. Over here is where the C6 7.62mm GPMG would be, but that's removed right now. And the shell casings would be ejected downwards. And over here we've got the breech for the 76mm gun, firing fixed case ammunition ejecting into here. All around the side of us, you'll note that over here we've got 10 rounds of ready use ammunition and more space on the side for ammunition. Designed by Alvis of England, the turret is capable of 360 degrees of rotation and is made of welded aluminum capable of stopping small arms fire. Also shown in this shot are the wire cutters for all 3 positions. There are also clusters of 4 smoke grenade launchers mounted on both sides of the turret, but if you're unlucky enough to get hit, there is a fire extinguisher system in the hull. The turret also mounts a L23A1 76mm low-velocity cannon with a semi-automatic breech capable of firing HESH, canister, and smoke rounds at distances of up to 2 kilometers or 6 in an indirect fire roll. From the roof of the vehicle, you can access the commander and gunner's hatches. As well, you've got their respective periscope and vision devices mounted on top as well. Under combat conditions, the entire crew buttons up and therefore is only able to use these periscopes to maintain situational awareness or see where they're going. However, when not in combat conditions, crews of the Cougar would have unbuttoned and exposed themselves, giving them better visibility and better situational awareness through a 360-degree view around the vehicle from the top of the turret. This is the view that a Cougar crew would have saw if they weren't buttoned up in the previous clip. But enough about the turret, let's go talk about the driver's position. Okay, now we're in the driver's compartment. The driver sits smack dab in the hull right beside the engine. It's not exactly the most comfortable place on the vehicle, but hey, normally when the driver's operating the vehicle, he's got his seat raised and he's driving from a position like this. But in combat, they go back down into the hull and button up, in which case he's got these periscopes to look out of. As for driving the vehicle, he's got the steering wheel right in front of him. Automatic transmission, like any other vehicle, he's got the brake and gas pedals. And over on his left side, he's got all the dials and everything else he needs to operate the vehicle.
Now let's pop open the hood and talk about the mechanics of the vehicle.
Underneath me right now is the main engine, but there is a front access hatch open. Right here, we've got the exhaust.
The Cougar is powered by a diesel-fueled, two-stroke, turbocharged 6V53T engine manufactured by Detroit Diesel, which delivers 275 horsepower to each of the 6 wheels. But to really demonstrate the engine, let's pop the hood back down and take the Cougar out for a spin. The Cougar had an independent suspension, an innovative feature at the time, and was able to reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour depending on what surface it was driving on. The Cougar uses only its first set of wheels to steer, and as you can see in this footage, both the steering and suspension are quite sufficient for its role as a training vehicle. Here's the same bit of driving from another angle. Compared to the Shermans and the reserve forces before it, the Cougar was like a sports car according to its driver, who served on both vehicles. Unfortunately, this is where the good points of the vehicle stop. Designed only to have been a tank trainer, the vehicle performed poorly when deployed overseas in combat conditions. Back in Canada, introduction of this vehicle greatly improved the situation with reservist forces, but overseas, users found that it lacked good off-road mobility, was too lightly armored, and lacked the heavy firepower needed to engage heavily armored vehicles. In its later life, the Cougar was designated as a reconnaissance vehicle, but in this role as well, it was found lacking due to its large size. After serving with Canada on peacekeeping missions in places ranging from Africa to Yugoslavia, the vehicle was finally retired in the early 2000s, but continues to soldier on in the Uruguayan army, which bought 44 of the vehicles to be used as armored personnel carriers. All in all, the Cougar was a vehicle with humble beginnings as a tank trainer, and even though it lacked muscle for the tougher combat roles that were eventually assigned to it, it and the crews that served in them had the guts to take them on. We'd like to thank the Ontario Regiment Museum for lending us this vehicle and providing us with so much support. If you'd like what you saw, do like, share, and subscribe to this video. Give us a comment below and tell us what you thought about it, because it's the first time we've been doing this. And here's a little tidbit for you guys who watched to the end. If you go back to earlier in this clip, you're going to notice a small car backing away from the Cougar at the intersection. That's about it. See you guys next time.